Chosen one, this message is not about the kind of romance the world celebrates once a year. It is not about flowers, dinners, or temporary emotions. This is about divine alignment, about what God has been orchestrating quietly while you were wondering if He had forgotten you. Valentine's Day has always been treated as a human tradition, something commercial and emotional. But in the spiritual realm, dates and seasons are never accidental. The Bible reminds us that God makes everything beautiful in its time, not our time. And the timing you are standing in right now is not random, delayed, or mistaken. It is precise, it is intentional, it is heaven approved. If you are listening to this and your love journey has felt slow, painful, or confusing, hear this clearly. It was not punishment. God was not withholding love from you. He was protecting something sacred. There are relationships that look good on the outside, but quietly destroy purpose on the inside. God does not allow His chosen ones to enter unions that will dilute their calling. There were moments you prayed for love, and instead you received silence. Moments you asked for companionship, and instead you were left alone. But that loneliness was not abandonment, it was isolation for preservation. God often removes His chosen ones from crowded emotional spaces so they do not attach their destiny to the wrong soul. You were not rejected, you were redirected. Every closed door, every failed connection, every almost relationship that didn't last was God stepping in before something deeper could bind you to pain. Soul ties are powerful, and not every soul is meant to walk with you into your future. Heaven was guarding your heart, even when you didn't understand why it hurt. Chosen one, God never reveals a divine partner prematurely. Before He connects destinies, He matures hearts. Before He joins two lives, He refines character. Love sent too early can become a distraction instead of a blessing. That is why your waiting season was longer than you expected. God was shaping you into someone who could sustain what He promised. Think about how much you've grown. The lessons you've learned, the boundaries you now understand, the discernment you didn't have before. None of that came from comfort. It came from waiting. It came from silence. It came from trusting God when emotions wanted answers. And now something is shifting. This Valentine's Day carries a different weight for you, not because of what the world is celebrating, but because of what heaven is aligning. You may feel it already, a quiet stirring, a sense of readiness, a calm expectation rather than desperation. That is how divine alignment begins, not with chaos but with peace. God does not rush His plans, and He does not miss deadlines. When heaven moves, it moves on time. And right now, your heart is no longer in survival mode. You are no longer asking God to fix broken pieces. You are standing healed enough to recognize what is real when it appears. This season is not about chasing love. Chasing always leads to exhaustion and compromise. This season is about recognition. When God reveals what He has prepared, you won't have to force it. You won't have to convince yourself. You won't have to beg for clarity. There will be an inner knowing that cannot be explained logically. Chosen one, divine love does not arrive with confusion. It arrives with confirmation. The waiting you endured sharpened your discernment. The isolation strengthened your spirit. The tears softened your heart without making it weak. You are not the same person you were when you first asked God for love. And that is why you are now ready for a love that doesn't compete with your purpose, doesn't drain your spirit, and doesn't pull you away from God. Valentine's Day is not the destination. It is a marker, a reminder that love is not found in noise but in alignment. Whether God reveals your partner through recognition, preparation, or inner peace, this season marks the end of confusion and the beginning of clarity. You were never forgotten. You were being prepared. Chosen one, God does not reveal your divine love partner the way the world does. The world thrives on emotional highs, instant attraction, and confusion disguised as passion. But when God is involved, there is order, there is clarity, there is peace. You are not left guessing, overthinking, or begging for reassurance. Divine love does not drain you, it settles you. When God reveals your partner, peace arrives first, not excitement, not obsession, not anxiety. It is a calm assurance that reaches your spirit before your emotions respond. You may not be able to explain it logically, but something within you knows. The same way you recognize God's voice in moments of prayer, you recognize alignment in moments of connection. Scripture says his sheep know his voice, and in the same way, your spirit knows what heaven has authorized. This kind of recognition doesn't rush you. It doesn't pressure you to prove anything. It doesn't push you to abandon your values or compromise your relationship with God. Instead, it strengthens your walk. You find yourself praying with more sincerity, hearing God with more clarity, and standing more firmly in who you are. That is one of the greatest confirmations that a connection is divinely revealed. It brings you closer to God, not further away. Chosen one, a God-ordained partner sees beyond your appearance. Attraction may exist, but it is not the foundation. They recognize your spirit before they admire your face. They sense your calling before they celebrate your gifts. They are drawn to your obedience, your discipline, your depth. This is not someone who competes with your purpose or demands attention away from it. This is someone who protects your assignment and respects the work God is doing in you. Divine love does not require performance. You do not have to pretend, impress, or shrink yourself to be accepted. There is room to breathe, room to grow, room to be honest. When God reveals your partner, you are not afraid of being misunderstood because you are seen clearly. There is safety in that recognition. But chosen one, revelation does not always come through a dramatic meeting or an instant connection. Sometimes God reveals your partner by first removing what no longer belongs. Old emotional attachments begin to lose their grip. Past relationships stop resurfacing in your thoughts. Patterns that once pulled you into unhealthy cycles suddenly lose their power. This is not loss, it is release. God often heals before he reveals. He closes emotional doors so you don't carry yesterday's wounds into tomorrow's promise. He removes distractions so your discernment stays sharp. He quiets your heart so you can recognize peace when it arrives. That is why certain connections had to end. That is why some people had to walk away. That is why your heart had to be emptied before it could be filled correctly. Chosen one, healing is not always loud. Sometimes it happens subtly. You realize you no longer crave validation. You stop chasing affection. You stop settling for attention without intention. You become content in God's presence, and that contentment becomes the signal that you are ready. Divine love meets you when you no longer need it to survive. Pay attention to what God has been removing lately. Pay attention to the clarity he has been giving you. These are not coincidences. These are confirmations. God prepares your vision before he introduces what you need to see. When the right person appears, you will recognize them not because they excite your flesh, but because they align with your spirit. There will be no confusion about your worth, no fear of abandonment, no constant questioning of intentions. Divine love does not leave you in emotional chaos. It brings rest. It feels familiar even if you have never met before. It feels safe even before trust is built. That is how God works. He confirms internally before he reveals externally. Chosen one, do not underestimate this season of healing and clarity. It is not delay, it is direction. Every door God closed protected you. Every wound he healed prepared you. And when he reveals what he has ordained, you will not have to force recognition. You will simply know. Because what God reveals, your spirit recognizes. Chosen one, the reason this message reached you before Valentine's Day is not accidental. God is intentional about timing, and when he wants to prepare your heart, he sends confirmation before manifestation. This season is not about forcing outcomes or racing against time. It is about spiritual awareness. God is sharpening your discernment so you can recognize what is real when it appears and walk away from what only looks good on the surface. You don't need to search for love as if it could get lost. What God assigns cannot wander away from you. You don't need to settle out of fear or impatience, because settling always delays destiny. And you don't need to fear missing out, because divine alignment is not based on chance, it is based on obedience and timing. What belongs to you will not require chasing manipulation or compromise. Chosen one, this Valentine's Day may look ordinary on the outside, but inwardly it marks a shift. Something old is ending quietly. Patterns that once repeated themselves no longer have the same grip on you. Emotional cycles that kept pulling you backward are being broken, not through effort, but through understanding. God is giving you clarity about the kind of love He reserved for you, and clarity changes everything. There was a time when you were attracted to what was familiar, even if it was unhealthy. There was a time when attention felt like affection and intensity felt like connection. But God has been renewing your mind. You no longer desire chaos disguised as passion. You no longer confuse attachment with love. This shift did not happen overnight. It came through prayer, reflection, disappointment, and healing. This is why this message found you now. Your heart is no longer looking for just anyone. It is looking for alignment. God speaks to prepared hearts, not rushed ones. He reveals truth when you are strong enough to receive it without idolizing it. Divine love is not meant to replace God in your life. It is meant to walk beside you as you fulfill His purpose. Chosen one, understand this clearly. God does not tease His children with promises He has no intention of fulfilling. If He has been speaking to you about love, companionship, and partnership, it is because something is aligning. But alignment does not always mean immediate manifestation. Sometimes it means internal confirmation before external evidence appears. This Valentine's Day may not come with grand gestures or public announcements, but it will come with peace, a sense of release, a quiet confidence that you are no longer behind. You are no longer late. You are exactly where you need to be. That peace is a prophetic sign. God often confirms His will through stillness rather than noise. When God reveals your divine love partner, it will not bring confusion into your life. It will not cause you to question your worth or your faith. It will not pull you into anxiety or emotional instability. Instead, it will feel steady, safe, familiar. Even if the person is new, the alignment will feel known. Recognition may come through a conversation that feels different, a connection that doesn't require effort, a peace that stays even after the moment passes, or it may come through inner confirmation before any person appears. God sometimes prepares your heart first so you don't sabotage what He sends later. Chosen one, do not measure your life by the world's calendar. Heaven's timing does not follow social trends or cultural pressure. Your story is not late, it is protected. God has been guarding you from counterfeit connections that looked right but carried hidden costs. Every delay was mercy. Every unanswered prayer was direction. This season is calling you into trust, not urgency. The love God has for you is intentional, mature, and rooted in purpose. It will not rush you, and it will not confuse you. It will meet you in peace and grow in truth. And when it happens, when God reveals what He has ordained, you will not need signs from people to confirm it. Your spirit will already know. Because divine love does not shout, it settles. It does not confuse, it confirms.